In this episode, IMSA at VIR, Formula One Belgian Grand Prix, and Audi officially entering F1. Welcome to episode 111 of the We Auto Show. What's up, Derek?
Mr. Michael Rao, there was lots of motorsports this weekend.
There was, and I didn't catch any of it because I was busy.
I did happen to catch some of it. I didn't happen to see the IMSA race, but I did watch the highlights.
Oh?
Couple little talking points.
Okay.
This was a GT-only event.
Where?
VIR, Virginia International Raceway.
Ah.
Fantastic track, by the way.
Cool track, for sure.
Perfect amount of elevation, a lot of corners, and really technical.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of tough. But this is where they only have the GT Pro and GT... What do they call the other classes?
GTD Pro and GTD.
That's what it is. Which in the current regulations basically should be the same spec cars across, and only the drivers should be the difference.
Yep.
Always interesting to see that. I am more of a fan of seeing the multi-class where you have a disparity in the drivers, or in the cars specifically, so that we have more passing. But at this track, I cannot imagine having prototypes trying to pass. It'd be kind of chaos.
That would be insane.
Almost dangerous.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of corners where you hold a lot of speed. And if you're off, it's a big one.
Yeah, huge into the trees.
Right. Overall, very good race. Do you have the results?
I do, believe it or not.
Yes.
So, let me give you some results here. First place, the winner, was taken by one of my favorite cars. That'd be the FAF Porsche, the number 9, driven by Matt Campbell and Mathieu Jaminet. Number 2, the second place, was taken by the Corvette C8R, driven by Antonio Garcia and Jordan Taylor. That's the number 3 car. Then third place was actually not a GTD Pro. It was a GTD.
Ah.
So third place, a non-GTD Pro, was taken by Mercedes AMG GT3, the number 57 car, driven by Russell Ward and Philip Ellis.
So they won their class.
Yep, they won their class. As a matter of fact, the top 10, there was 18 cars in the race. The top 10, there was Pro, and then 5 non-pros, a pro, and then a non-pro.
Wow.
Majority standard GTD in the top 10.
Huh. That's surprising to me. Because there's supposed to be a disparity, but it seems like there isn't.
Not a whole lot there.
But it is an IMSA race, so it's usually very entertaining.
Yep, agreed.
So let's move on to something else that is sometimes entertaining.
Yes.
Being good old Formula Uno.
Yes.
Formula One.
Formula One.
Did you happen to see it?
I didn't.
All right.
I wish. I saw some highlights, and I saw one highlight in particular, which I'm sure we're going to talk about.
Let me give you the lowdown. Before the race started, there were a bunch of shenanigans. This is the first time that they've raced after their summer break, right? So they came back, and everybody said, we need new engines. So they all took new engines. Not all of them, but there was something like 4 to 5 drivers that took new engines, which means you start in the back. Of note, Leclerc and Verstappen both took new engines. So they started in the back. Very interesting. Which means that they had to drive through the field. And I kind of really wish they would keep doing this.
I like that a lot.
I kind of wish they'd keep doing this.
I kind of wish they'd do like the reverse pole. The higher you go, the lower you start.
Stadium super truck style, baby. Just reverse the grid after qualifying and put last and first.
Yep.
Chaos.
That would be just fun to watch in F1.
Anyway, in the beginning of the race, there were 2 drivers specifically that made contact after they went through a Rouge and Radeon down the long straight that got to the first right-hander. And Alonso and Hamilton were close racing. And then Hamilton got onto Alonso's tire and flipped his car up into the air. He got relatively high in the air, too.
Yeah, it was one of those, oh, look, a penny.
Yeah.
And the car just nose down.
Right.
Face down, ass up.
And when he came back down, the car smacked on the ground super hard. And after that, anyone that was behind him was getting oil sprayed all over them.
Yeah.
And Hamilton retired the car shortly after that.
Oh, gee golly. Oh, darn.
Now, while this incident was happening, there was a quote from Alonso. Do you happen to have that quote?
I do. So, the only highlights I caught of this race was this crash. And then I caught the in-car of Fernando Alonso on the radio. Mm-hmm. Alonso immediately, as soon as Hamilton hit him, immediately Alonso comes on the radio and says, "What an idiot. Closing the door from the outside." Very true based upon the highlights. "We had a great start, but this guy only knows how to drive and start in first."
Oof.
Oh, Mike drop. And I got to admit, truer words have never been spoken.
Hamilton's a good driver, but he's a much better driver when he starts in the front.
He does not know how to race if he's not on the top row.
He can do it. He's not great at it. Yeah.
Man.
Unfortunate for Lewis, but good for, Lewis haters, kind of like us.
Me?
Yeah.
Me?
Now,
Man,
the rest, as the rest of the race played out, Ferrari continued to do the pit wall debacle strategy, which is terrible.
What is wrong with Ferrari?
I don't know.
Genuinely.
I don't know.
What is wrong with the Ferrari pit crew and every engineers and team every Ferrari? What are you doing?
Red Bull did have a better car. They had more straight line speed, and that at Spa really does help. They had the faster car. They had no problem passing the Ferraris. So Ferrari was in a position where they had to scramble to make things happen, and when you put them under pressure, they pop. So this time, the way that they popped is at the end of the race, where I think Leclerc was in 4th or something. Maybe he was even further down. Where did he finish?
Leclerc finished 6th.
6th. Okay. At the end of the race, I know what happened. At the end of the race, they came in to try to grab the fastest lap with Leclerc. I think that there was 2 laps remaining in the race at this point. And in order to do so, they put on the soft tires, and they try to get him to be as fast as possible. When they pit, he got overtaken by Alonso as he came out of the pits, which means he has to not only get the fastest lap, but he has to pass Alonso while doing it. And that isn't really how that works usually.
No.
He did manage to pass Alonso, but he got a speeding penalty for coming into pit. So he gave the spot back after the race was over.
Didn't Ferrari engineers go on the radio and ask the drivers what did they want to do?
They did.
Well, okay. Hold on. Hold on a second. They're asking the driver to make that decision when the driver is trying to, drive. Meanwhile, they have the computing power in their pit box to send your pen to Mars, and they can't figure out what's best.
No.
With all those goddamn sensors on that car, they can't figure out.
No, not only that, but I think about 10 to 20 laps into the race, they came over the radio and they said, "Charles, we're on plan D. We've gone through A, we've gone through B, we've gone through C. We're on to D."
Already?
At like 20 laps.
Oh, my God. What? Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Scuderia Ferrari, what are you doing? What are you doing?
I don't know how many plans they make, but I couldn't keep more than 4 or 5 plans in my head, so.
I still think back to, where was it? The Austrian Grand Prix, when they came on to the radio with Sainz and they said, "Execute plan E," and then he exploded. Like, he literally exploded like 2 laps after they tell him to execute plan E.
Yes. Ferrari's not been doing well.
Execute plan D for go down the grid.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God.
On the other side, though, Red Bull had a very good race. Verstappen did start near the back. I don't think he started exactly last. I think it was around there, though. And he easily got through to the lead. I think by lap 20-ish. It was a 44-lap race. He had the lead with like 10 seconds in hand.
Yikes, dude.
So he just stormed his way right through the field. No problem. And that was that for the lead of that race. And that's where he finished.
Wow.
Yeah. So who came first, second, third?
First, Verstappen. Second, Perez. Third, Carlos Sainz.
Okay.
Followed by George Russell. Followed by Fernando Alonso.
Mm-hmm.
And then Leclerc.
Mm-hmm.
So the standings.
Yes.
The driver standings. That now puts Max Verstappen much more comfortably in the lead. He's now in the lead with 284. Sergio Perez, his teammate, is now second place. He has surpassed Leclerc. He is 191 in terms of points.
Ooh.
Leclerc, third place. He got bumped from this race. Leclerc is now at 186 in third place. So that race is what catapulted Perez over Leclerc. Followed by Carlos Sainz, then George Russell, and then Lewis Hamilton.
So now it's an even Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes.
For the most part. Lewis Hamilton's got 146. His teammates got 170.
So there's a bit of a gap there.
And then 171, then 186. And then you're 15 miles away from Verstappen.
Where if you're not in the top 3 teams, it doesn't really matter at this point.
You're toast.
Right. Okay. So Red Bull has pulled out a humongous gap. What's the gap second to third right now?
Second to third? Not a huge gap there.
But from first to third is huge.
First to third is huge. Yeah,
Okay.
So first is 284, third is 186. So 100-point difference. Second, though, is 191. So second and third, still close battle. But
unless Verstappen messes up a lot and Ferrari gets their act together, this championship's over.
yeah, Ferrari doesn't have a hope in hell.
No. And Mercedes doesn't either. And if Red Bull's in first and second now, it's
It's done.
unfortunately GG. Yeah.
Done. For sure. But let's go a little more in depth with F1 here for a second. Because there's some news about a manufacturer. Audi is officially confirmed coming into F1. Which means, you know what they're not doing?
What?
LMDh.
Yes.
They are completely axing their LMDh and or GTP program. Which,
Remember when they brought out the article that was like, we're looking into getting F1, but that's not why we're going to kill our LMDh program. I promise you, that's not why. We promise, we really, pinky promise, it's not why. That's exactly why.
I'm pretty sure Audi just broke a pinky promise.
They did. It's exactly why.
Yeah, no, they literally said a few months back, so we're going to put a pause on LMDh, unrelated to Formula One.
Sure.
Right. Yeah, we can see right through that bullshit.
Why even say it? Why not just say, like, just come out with it. Just say, yeah, we want to make an F1 car, and we're going to ditch the LMDh project.
Yeah, that's our focus. Sorry.
Right. There's no problem with saying that.
They should. I agree. It's just funny because, like, we saw this coming.
Right.
Like, we saw this coming.
Have you seen the new Audi F1 car?
I have.
What's your take on it?
Looks pretty cool.
The interesting part is...
It's not going to look like that, but...
No, this is a press car, basically, which is fine. They brought out an F1 car. The weird part is they're not, from the understanding currently, in 2026, going to be more than just a manufacturer of an engine.
They're doing chassis as well?
No, that's it. They're just doing engine.
Oh, they're not? Okay, got it.
But they brought out a full-on car with a livery and everything for the press photos.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
Is Audi lying to us again?
I suspect so. I suspect that we're going to see a full team, which is interesting. But would we... the American team, who is it?
Haas.
Andretti.
Andretti.
Andretti's trying to get in 2024, right? I believe that's the
4 or
timeline.
5. One. Yeah.
One of those two. So that would put it, if Audi came in 2026 with a full-on team, which is currently unlikely but possible, that would mean that we'd have 24 cars on the grid as opposed to 20 right now, which is kind of a big deal in F1.
How do we get 24?
Because we're going to get 2 from Andretti and 2 from Audi.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Could be big. considering the points only go from the top 10 down or up, basically. You get the top 10, get points in F1. Having 20 to 24 cars is a big difference.
Yeah.
It's a big difference.
Would they then make points be the top 12?
I don't think so. I think traditionally they've kept it at the top 10, and they would likely keep it at the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if you went to 12, you would have to change the weights of all the points, which would be kind of weird.
Yep.
So Audi entering in 2026, from what they say, they won't field a car, but they'll be an engine supplier, though when you release a car in your press photos, seems suspicious.
Mm-hmm.
Also, when you say you're not going to ditch your LMDh program, and then you ditch it a month later, seems suspicious.
Makes you wonder.
Really does.
Yeah. So, I guess that's that, isn't it?
It is. Of note, there was also something else that happened this weekend. NASCAR was at Daytona.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yes. And they were racing at, I think they were supposed to be racing at Saturday night, and they got rained out from that. So they raced Sunday morning.
Oh.
Uh-huh. And in the race Sunday morning, there was a big old accident where over half the field got involved. Which is par for the course at restrictor plate racing in NASCAR, which is the big ovals, Talladega, Daytona, all those kind of big tracks. But it kind of created a weird situation where there were 10 cars on the lead lap in the final few laps of the race. 10. They start with 43, I think, in NASCAR.
Jeez.
10 cars left.
It's funny. I watched the highlight of that crash. It's just mass pandemonium. Everyone, and it's funny because it looked like they all just kind of lost it equally at the same time. It didn't look like there was a lot of like contact that caused it. It was just like 4 cars simultaneously losing it at the exact same moment, and then the whole world just took a shit.
Yep, everybody crashed. And it was the leaders. The top 4 cars were the ones that basically spun in opposite directions every which way possible.
Yeah, it was like the first place, no one touched him. It just kind of looked like the front just kind of washed away, and then he lost it. And then second, front just kind of washed away. Third, back washed away, and he lost. Fourth, just kind of washed. It was just kind of washed away, and then just everyone hitting everyone. And then there was like 2 little guys like right around the side.
Specifically, Austin Dillon snuck through. I think he was near the middle of that pack that was crashing. And by the grace of God, the gates opened, and he just went right through and no problems. It's like what you would see in iRacing.
Yeah.
People are just memeing about it. And he ended up taking the win.
Yeah, it's like the Red Sea just parted in front of him.
All of the drivers who were favorites to win Daytona were like, this is terrible racing. We hate it. It's just a roll of the dice. It's luck. It's terrible. They didn't throw the caution because of rain. This is awful. And Austin Dillon's like, yeah.
Sup, guys?
I rolled the dice right today.
Yeah. Well, lucky him.
There's something to be said about those drivers being pissed. Because is there a lot of skill in that? Not really. It's kind of just roll the dice and see what happens.
Just see where everyone goes.
But is it entertaining?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Very.
Yeah? So, I don't know. Interesting.
Well, I guess that was the highlight of the NASCAR race.
Yeah. Good old NASCAR.
So this weekend, we do have a lot of racing coming up. This weekend, we've actually got about 3 series racing. No IMSA, though. IMSA's off until the last race, Petit. They're off until October 1st at Petit Le Mans.
Okay.
At Road Atlanta. But F1 is back again this weekend. They are at the Dutch Grand Prix at Zandvoort. And then Indy is racing the Grand Prix of Portland at the Portland International Raceway. It is a road course, which you and I have never heard of. So upon a quick Google, it looks like a cool little course. Don't know much about it, but hey, they're racing there. And then NASCAR is racing again. They are racing the Cup Series. They're racing the Cookout Southern 500. That's a great sponsor name. At Darlington.
It's supposed to NASCAR sponsor name.
Oh, my God.
At Darlington.
Yep.
Oh, Do you got your Darlington stripes yet?
I don't really know Darlington. What's Darlington stripes?
Darlington is a track where the fastest line is apparently up near the wall, and you get stripes by sliding the edge of your car along the wall, because that's the fastest way to go.
Oh.
So by the end of the race, you're supposed to have your Darlington stripes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So let's see who's got Darlington stripes.
All right. So some NASCAR, some Indy, some F1. Should be a good weekend of racing.
Yeah, sounds like it. All right, so that's all I got for episode 111. You got anything else?
Nope.
All right, so thanks so much for watching and listening. If you're watching on YouTube, please leave us a thumbs up and drop a comment on the video. While you're here, let us know what race are you most interested to watch this weekend. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Got a bunch of cool videos coming out here. Now, if you're listening on audio, please do leave us a 5-star rating and a review on your podcast platform of choice. While you're at it, follow us on social. Facebook's We Are Auto. Instagram is We Are Auto _. If I could talk, that'd be great. YouTube is We Are Auto, and our website, which is amazing, by the way, it's weareauto.io. You should check that out and create a profile. Keep track of the races you've watched. And again, thanks so much. We'll catch you guys in the next one.
Peace.